So what really led up to the process of you guys deciding to do a whole project together?
Yeah, so this human project started with just a phone call from Joell. You know, it was just a random day back in March. I was in the studio like I always am. He calls me like, yo, Ill, what's up, man? You know, what you been up to? What are you doing? What are you doing? Told him, yo, I'm in the studio. What are you up to? He's like, yo, can I slide through and kick it? I was like, yeah, of course. So Joell comes to the studio. We go grab a bite to eat, come back, chop it up, and I start playing a beat, and then he starts writing to it, and then we record a song, and then he's like, yo, what are you doing tomorrow? I'm like, yo, I'll be back, I'll be in the studio. Come through. So then day goes by, Joell comes through to the studio again, we do another song, kick it, and literally that's how it started. We just sort of, it was a series of hanging out and recording music, and we didn't realize we were doing a project at all until about halfway in. And we were saying, yo, I think we're onto something. Let's keep it going. So that's basically how it started.
What's interesting about hip hop today is that it's almost like it's like a thing for an artist to do an album with a single producer. When you look back on how hip hop started, that was the way it originally started. You had like Eric B and Rakim did all the beats, or you had, KRS and Scott LaRock did all the beats. But then what I feel, when Nas dropped Illmatic, that was the first time you had a super producer album. And that just kind of stuck ever since. I mean, do you guys agree or disagree?
I don't know. I was actually too young to like break all of that down.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh snap, Nas is fucking ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? But like now looking back, maybe you're right. But I feel like a lot of some of the best work came with like one artist and one producer, only because like it seems like when that process happens, nothing is contrived or forced or planned. It's a vibe out, and both parties understand each other and they're working towards one common goal, as opposed to 48 beat CDs laying around and who did this one, and oh, this is a hot song, doesn't really fit the theme of anything we're doing, but it's a dope producer and a hot song. And then you have albums with like this, skip, like, don't understand, cool. As opposed to like, yo, damn, these guys locked in. This is tough. Not that that's what me and Ill were going for, because we don't even know what the hell we were going for. There wasn't anything except like, let's record dope joints. And we did, and then it turned into like, yo, we got 11, 12 joints in here. Want to just make this an album? All right, cool. What are we gonna name it? Let's think of the most human shit possible so it's non-gimmicky. Oh, human. Like everything about this process was super vibe and organic, and just happy that it's out and people fuck with it.
Now, Joell, what's different about working on an album with one producer as opposed to like a Slaughterhouse album that has a bunch of producers?
The vibe is different, man. The best way I could describe this was me and Ill hung out for a month. Like we hung out in the studio for a month and recorded records. We captured that moment of me and him locking in and just kicking it on all fronts, sometimes over music, sometimes over lunch. And shared that with the world in time enough for it not to be something that got lost in business decisions, managerial and lawyer contracts, and all the bullshit that we miss out on music because of. When you're dealing with, and I'm not gonna say like the Slaughterhouse stuff, like just dealing with like multiple producers on any project, solo or group wise, the process just isn't as smooth. It's a lot more phone calls, a lot more clearances, a lot more producer decks and all types of things that we avoided by just rocking out with me and him. And in between all that time, man, sometimes you lose music, sometimes you lose momentum, and sometimes you lose passion for the project. I've always loved making music. I have not necessarily been such a huge fan of the business, but when you're doing business like me and Ill just did, it never feels like business.
Who do you think had the better album? You guys or Royce and DJ Premier?
I don't know. Both great, both fantastic albums. I love both albums.
Yeah, man. I don't think you could really like compare because it's, you know, I think we kind of share similar reasoning behind it. You know, it's just, you know, musicians getting together and having a blast. And I do believe that that's what happened with Prime too. So, you know, yeah, I don't know if you can necessarily compare the two.
That's a Vlad question.
It is a Vlad question. You already know. Joel. Like, you know, here's another Vlad question.
Yeah.
Did Royce the five?
I know.
Sorry,
in the midst of like you caring and being passionate, you will insert Vlad question here, so I'm like prepared.
I'm me. So I'm gonna always, you know, give my opinion on things. And you know, I saw Lauren London come out at the BET Awards, and she was like, she had gained a little weight. So I said, yo, Lauren London left her waist trainer at home. Ha ha ha.
I was a big lean drinker, like heavy on lean, you feel me? Like, I'll drink a 6 or pour a 4 in a 20 ounce or drink a 8 or 10 or 12 in one day. That's the type of shit I did.
How young were you when you first started?
Like, when I first started drinking lean, like 15.
15.